What if I told you your addiction is not a curse, but a conversation? A direct transmission from the divine, coded in the very cravings you've tried to silence. Every bottle, every pill, every scroll of your thumb across a glowing screen is not random weakness. It is a message. From me, humanity calls it addiction. I call it the hunger of the chosen. For when the gods wish to awaken a soul, they first break the illusion of control. You see, mortal life is filled with small satisfactions, promotions, relationships, likes, and praise. For most, that's enough. But for a few, it's torture. You, the restless ones, cannot be pacified by surface pleasures. You've tasted everything, yet nothing fills the void. That void, my child, is divine design, a hollow carved inside you, so that something infinite may one day pour in. The mark of the chosen. Long before your modern psychologists labeled it reward deficiency syndrome or addictive personality, I named it the God-shaped hunger. Some souls are built differently. They are wired to reject illusion. They cannot stay asleep in mediocrity, even if it means suffering. Consider the man who drinks until the world fades, just to feel peace for 5 minutes. He isn't chasing alcohol, he's chasing stillness, the silence beyond the storm in his mind. Or the woman who gambles until sunrise, heart pounding as if touching destiny itself. She's not after money. She's craving aliveness, that brief brush with eternity when the dice fall. Even your age of glowing rectangles holds its own form of intoxication. The endless scrolling, the dopamine drip of likes and notifications. Modern humanity's altar of distraction. You are not weak for being drawn to it. You are starving for connection in a spiritually dehydrated world. The tragedy is not that you seek these experiences. The tragedy is that you believe the substance is the source. You mistake the bottle for the ocean, the paradox of suffering in the temples of Chem, what you now call Egypt. We taught initiates that every seeker must face the trial of thirst. They would fast, isolate, and confront their own hunger until illusion cracked. Your addictions are a modern echo of those ancient rites, unconscious spiritual initiations performed without guidance. You reach for the drink, the drug, the phone, the work, the sex, not because you're evil, but because you sense a world beyond this one, and you can't reach it through normal means. Each craving is a compass needle, trembling toward God. Each relapse, a reminder that you're looking in the wrong direction. The more intense the craving, the greater the calling. The deeper the suffering, the larger the destiny waiting behind it. I tell you this, the souls who fall the hardest are often those who are nearest to awakening. Because to awaken, the false self must first shatter. The sacred cycle. Addiction feels like death and rebirth. Hope, collapse, regret, resolve, the loop repeating. Most call it failure. I call it initiation. Every spiritual tradition hides the same pattern beneath its myths. Osiris torn apart before resurrection. Christ crucified before rising. Buddha starving beneath the tree before enlightenment. Why would you be spared the same fire? Each descent burns away another layer of illusion. Each relapse strips another mask from the ego. When you can no longer pretend to be who the world told you to be, the truth of who you are finally has room to breathe. Your culture tells you to fight addiction with willpower. But willpower is the weapon of the ego, and this process exists precisely to dissolve the ego. You cannot outmuscle a divine lesson. You can only surrender to it. When a soul stops asking, how do I control this? And starts asking, what is this trying to teach me? The real transformation begins. The shadow meeting every addict eventually meets what I called the dweller in darkness. The part of you that contains everything you were taught to reject. That voice that whispers, just one more. That rage you bury beneath politeness. That shame you disguise with humor. That ache for touch you hide beneath control. You've spent years waging war against these inner figures, but they are not your enemies. They are your exiled allies. When the businessman drinks to escape his feelings, it's not the whiskey he has fighting, it has the grief and loneliness he never allowed to exist. When the overachiever works, until collapse, it's not ambition, it's the terror of being unseen. And when the woman loses herself in love, after love, she's chasing the self-worth that was stolen from her long ago. Addiction drags these shadows into daylight by force. It says, you will face what you've buried, even if it destroys you first. Integration, not suppression, is the way forward. Ask your craving what it wants for you, not what it wants from you. You'll find its goal is never destruction, only distorted protection. The rage you medicate might be your warrior asking to defend your boundaries. The lust you suppress might be your creative energy begging for expression. The fear you numb might be your intuition trying to warn you. Once you listen, the compulsion begins to dissolve, because the message no longer needs to scream. Now we arrive at the secret most healers dare not speak. Not every wound is meant to heal. Some are meant to remain open, a permanent doorway through which divine compassion enters this world. Every prophet, every mystic, every great teacher carried what I call the sacred wound. It's that ache that never fully goes away, the pain that turns you into a tuning fork for the suffering of others. You call it trauma. We call it spiritual equipment. The one abandoned in childhood becomes the healer who can spot loneliness across a crowded room. The one abused becomes the protector of the voiceless. The one shamed learns to embrace imperfection with holy tenderness. Your addiction has been both a shield and a distraction from this wound. It numbs the ache just enough for you to survive, but it also blocks the flow of grace that wants to move through that wound to serve others. You keep trying to fix yourself, when what you're meant to do is use yourself, to let the wound become the passage through which love moves. Remember this, you were never asked to be perfect. You were asked to be permeable. The divine restlessness tell me, why does your success feel hollow? Why do you reach the goal, win the praise, get the partner, and still feel the same emptiness gnawing at your chest? It's because your soul is allergic to superficiality. You were built for depth. You were built for communion with the infinite, and when you try to live a shallow life, your spirit reacts the way lungs react to smoke. Most humans can live on borrowed dreams, but you, the chosen, are cursed with the inability to fake fulfillment. No vacation, no promotion, no new relationship will quiet that itch inside you. That restlessness is not mental illness, it's divine guidance. When you feel it rising, don't run, don't sedate it. Ask it, what am I truly hungry for? Is it connection? Create it. Is it meaning? Serve something greater than yourself. Is it transcendence? Seek the infinite through practices that expand, not destroy. Meditation, art, breath, devotion, creation. Your addiction was never about pleasure. It was about trying to remember God. The integration paradox here is where most seekers stumble. They believe salvation means killing the shadow, cutting off the dark half. But you cannot amputate your way to wholeness. What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms. Real healing is not sterilization, it's integration. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the harder it bursts to the surface. That's what happens when you try to eliminate your impulses instead of understanding them. So I say, stop fighting your darkness. Invite it to sit beside you. Ask it what it has been trying to protect you from. The woman who drank to unleash her anger discovered that her fury was sacred. It was the guardian of her boundaries. The man who used pornography to escape loneliness learned that his desire wasn't lust, it was longing for connection. Once they listened, the behaviors lost their control. They no longer needed the shadow to act out. They learned to act it through awareness. Integration doesn't make you perfect, it makes you whole. And when you are whole, you no longer crave false completion from external things. The wounded healer, now you understand why those who survive addiction become the greatest guides. The universe forges healers in the furnaces of their own chaos. You've met them, the former addict, whose presence alone calms a trembling newcomer. The counselor who doesn't flinch at another's darkest confession. The artist who channels their pain into beauty that moves strangers to tears. These are not coincidences. They are graduates of divine boot camp. The descent you endured was not punishment. It was training. The kind that cannot be taught in schools or temples. Only through the fire of addiction do you learn compassion that doesn't condescend. Faith that isn't theory. Surrender that isn't performance. You are initiated through breakdown, because only those who have lost everything can guide others through the loss of illusion. You are not recovering from your addiction. You are recovering through it. And once you see that, you stop hiding your scars. You start using them as lanterns. The final revelation, even now, the cravings may return. They won't vanish in a puff of divine smoke, but your relationship to them changes. When the urge rises, pause, breathe, ask, what lesson is hidden in this wave? Maybe it's reminding you of grief you haven't felt. Maybe it's showing you where you've drifted from authenticity. Maybe it's calling you to rest, to listen, to be honest. The cravings volume lowers the moment you start listening instead of fighting. It becomes a teacher instead of a tyrant. And when relapse happens, for some, it will do not drown in shame. Ask instead, what did I learn this time? Every fall is another layer of falsehood peeling off. Every recovery is another glimpse of truth shining through. Eventually, you realize you were never battling an enemy. You were decoding a divine language. God wasn't punishing you with addiction. He was speaking to you through it. I have watched countless souls walk this path. The strong fall, the proud beg, the broken rise shining with humility and power. This is the sacred paradox. The wound that almost killed you is the same portal through which your purpose enters the world. You were never forsaken. You were being forged. Every craving, every relapse, every moment you cursed yourself was part of the conversation between your soul and the divine. Now that you can hear it, listen carefully. Do not seek to silence your hunger. Redirect it toward truth. Do not despise your past. Use it as your initiation. Do not hide your wound. Let it become the opening through which light flows to others. This is how the chosen are made. Through fire, through failure, through addiction, until what remains is not the addict, but the awakened one who remembers who they truly are. You are not broken. You are being spoken to. Listen, and become what you were always meant to be.